So we're going to use the method of completing the square to solve this quadratic equation, x squared minus 10x minus 24. And we are going to start out by keeping the x squared minus 10x on one side and getting the 24 onto the other side. So you add a positive 24 to both sides of this equation, and you get x squared minus 10x is equal to 24. Now we leave a space here because we want to add something that's going to make this left-hand side a perfect square, and whatever we add to the left-hand side, we're also going to add to the right-hand side. To figure out what makes this a perfect square, you have to understand your perfect square trinomial pattern. So we're going to take half of the middle number. Half of negative 10 is negative 5, and then we're going to square that. Negative 5 squared is a positive 25. That's the number that we're going to add in here. I'm going to add a positive 25, and if I add a 25 on the left-hand side, I have to add a 25 on the right-hand side to make sure that my equation stays balanced. So now this looks like x squared minus 10x plus 25 equals 25 plus 24 is 49. Now the reason why we chose to put this 25 here is because this left-hand side is going to be the perfect square trinomial. It's going to be square root of x squared is x. You have a minus there, so it's minus. Square root of 25 is 5, quantity squared. If you're not sure about that, you can make your little diamond and go 1 times 25, 25 on top, and then a negative 10 on the bottom. The two numbers that multiply to be positive 25 but add to be negative 10 would be a negative 5 times negative 5 is positive 25, add to be negative 10. So there's your x minus 5, or x minus 5 squared. That equals 49. Now to solve this equation, we're going to be square rooting both sides. So we've done this before. You square root the left-hand side, square root the right-hand side. It's a little bit tricky here because remember the square root of x minus 5 quantity squared must always be positive. This means the positive square root. So it comes out in absolute value x minus 5. And the square root of 49 is just positive 7, not plus or minus yet. This absolute value of x minus 5 equals 7 gives you two different equations. Either x minus 5, what's inside the absolute value, equals 7, or what's inside can equal the opposite of 7. X minus 5 can equal negative 7. I solve both of these equations for x, add a positive 5 to both sides here, add 5, x equals 12. Or if I add 5 to both sides here, 5 plus negative 7 gives me x equals negative 2. So here are my solutions. I can double check them by actually plugging them back into my original equation for x here and here. So in my check, if I take 12, plug it in for x here and here, I'm going to see does 12 squared minus 10 times 12 minus 24, does that equal 0? And you can see that you get 144 minus 120 minus 24, does that equal 0? 144 minus 20 is 24, and 24 minus 24 does equal 0. So the negative or the positive 12 checks. Plug the negative 2 in for the x here and here. So the other check is negative 2 squared, that's the x squared, minus 10 times negative 2 minus 24. Does that equal 0? Negative 2 squared is a positive 4. This is like plus a negative 10. Negative 10 times negative 2 is positive 20. Minus this 24. You can see 4 plus 20 is 24. Minus 24 does actually equal 0, so that checks as well. So we have our two answers, x equals 12 or x equals negative 2. Those are your two solutions to this quadratic equation.